Personal Narrative, Day 8. For Day 8, our objective is to write a title and our final draft. When we write a title, we don't want to give away what's going to happen in our story. For example, if my story was about learning to ride my bike, I don't want to say, learning to ride my bike, or this is a story about learning to ride my bike. I want to make it a little bit more of a surprise. We don't want to be a spoiler and give away what's going to happen. So my story is about a day at the beach, but I don't want to say this was my story about a trip to the beach. I want to make it more of a surprise. So let me write some things here that I think might be some good examples. Maybe a big castle. Because remember, in my story, I had a sand castle building competition. So I could say the biggest castle. The biggest castle. Or maybe I'll put the biggest castle, a big castle. A big trip could be the name, right? Because if I say a big trip, I'm not telling my readers where we went, or I'm not telling my readers what we did. Big trip. I could put the big trip, or I could put put a couple more examples. Once I figure out which one of these is my favorite, right, I could maybe highlight it. I think I'm going to go with the biggest castle. Biggest castle. I think that's the one I'm going to use. So I'm going to select it and I'm going to copy it by using my 2-finger click. And I'm going to in this title box, and then I'm going to use my 2-finger click again and click paste. So the biggest castle is going to be my title. Step is to complete our final draft. We already have all of the small pieces we need to put this together. This paper is our final draft paper, and this is what I will be printing out, okay? So all I need to do is go back to each of these slides, and I'm going to copy what I put there and then add it here. Of course, I need to start by putting my name. So in the top here, I'll select that and then put my name here. Okay. Now I need to find the title. So I'm going to go back to slide 9. And this was the slide where I decided I was going to use the biggest castle. So I'm going to select that by doing a triple click. That means 3 quick clicks in a row. Then I'm going to click 2 fingers and click copy. Go back to my final draft paper, and where it says title, I'm going to highlight that, and then I'm going to click 2-finger paste. So my title went right over that title, but that title is way too big. I need to make it smaller. So I'm going to make it, let's do a 18. 18 should be big enough. And titles should be in the center of the page. So I'm going to go up here, right next to this plus sign where you see all these lines. This is called the alignment button, and I'm going to click the one that tells me center. If I put my mouse right over it, the center. The big castle. Okay. Now I'll go back to the introduction, because the introduction is the next thing I need. I'm going to come up my slides. I'm going to go all the way up to where it says, introduction had this green one here. This is the introduction I had. The paragraph I wrote underneath is what I'm going to select. And again, you can use your 2-finger click, or I could go up here to click edit and copy. Then I'm going to go back down to my final draft paper. And right next to introduction, I'm going to click 2-finger and paste. Again, that's way too big. Those letters are too big for a project. So I'm going to highlight them all and come up here to the text box and make it 18 again. That's better. See, they're kind of the same size. All right, now I need to go to the beginning because the beginning is the next part I need. So I'm going to come up here to where it says what happened in the beginning of my story. So I'm going to select all the words that I wrote in my paragraph. I'm going to do a 2-finger click this time, and I'm going to click copy. I'm going to go back down to my final draft paper. I'm going to, next to the word beginning, a 2-finger click and then click paste. Again, it's too big, so I'm going to select it and then make it 18. You can type in the number 18 like that, or you can use the subtract button until you get to the right size. I don't need these extra lines in here because they're blank, so I could take them out. I'm going to go up here to the middle, what happened in the middle of my story. I'm going to copy this paragraph by selecting it all, 2-finger click and click copy. Go back to my final draft paper and click paste. Resize it to make it the right size for our final draft paper. Figure out what happened in the end of our story. And again, I'm going to copy that. Then go back to my final draft paper and click paste. Okay. Resize this to make it smaller to fit. Like I said, you can just use the subtraction sign if you want and go all the way down till you get to 18. So they're all the same size. That works too. And the last thing I'm going to do is add in my conclusion. Paragraph I wrote underneath is what I'm going to copy. My final draft paper. Finger click and click. I'm going to resize it to the right size. I think I'm going to click in the box and I'm just going to go down here and pick 18. That works too. Now I've got all my pieces on one piece of paper. Now I have my whole essay, right? So once you're finished with your final draft paper, you're done with day 8.